Doing okay. Yeah, I'd be doing better if it wasn't quite so rainy. We've had a lot of that, and
Yeah.
looks like it's gonna be going on for a little bit more.
It's crazy.
Heavy rain, heavy rain.
Very heavy rain.
Yeah,
Every day, almost every minute, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, we had 3, I mean, very unusually, we had 3 typhoons all in the neighborhood of Japan here in the since a week ago, you know? Um,
Yep.
we only had, one that this one that really, gave us a lot of rain. The other 2 were far enough away or took different routes, so it didn't really hit us, but, this one's really dumped a lot of rain on us.
A lot of rain, and it was very heavy 2 days ago. We did have that typhoon Monday or and Tuesday, was it, earlier in the week, right?
Right.
Which I was worried about my motorcycle, right?
Oh.
Because I thought it would be rather windy.
Mm.
And I tied it up and took out the battery and, wrapped it up and tied it to the fence we have.
Mm.
And it turned out not to be that bad, fortunately.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wind
my
wise.
scooter, uh, here at the apartment, all I've got is, there's just a little one of those corrugated, fiberglass roofs over the bicycle parking, right? Which is where everybody parks their two-wheeled vehicles, be they motorcycles or bicycles, right? Um,
Gotcha.
well, uh, the university has a nice parking lot for the motorcycles. That's where mine is right now. It's well taken care of. It's well sheltered.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's perfect shelter. That's all you need.
Yep, yep.
I have a scooter at my uni too, and it's under kind of an overwing, right?
Uh-huh.
Kind of a little entranceway where everybody parks bikes and whatnot, and it's not completely protected, but it's far enough in. The entranceway actually goes about a meter and a half, so it's quite a lot of room.
Okay. All right.
But not perfect like yours over there.
Well,
Your uni.
the trouble with mine is, though, if I went over there now, I don't think I could get in, because it's the Obone season. I think they've got it shut down, so I can't even get to my own scooter right now, so
Right, right. That is kind of a bummer, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be riding it in this weather anyway, right? So,
No,
uh,
that's right. And plus, during COVID, they locked that garage. And I
yeah.
know because I used to keep a bicycle there. So
But,
I could ride to my uni from taking the train and also visit you, Dan, after
yeah,
after
yeah,
my work. I would
yeah,
come and visit you and then take the train home
yeah. Oh, you don't
after
have
the
your bicycle there anymore?
No, I took it out just
Oh,
because it was locked
uh,
all the time, and Mike was like, "Well, you better get it out of there because who knows when it's gonna be open again?"
yeah.
And then I
Uh
guess it was open again for a while.
Yeah, 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 it's been open. I mean, yeah, people are riding their bicycles. Um, yeah, for a while, for a semester there last year, for a semester, we had everything closed down, and no students were even on campus or anything. But since then, there've been enough students coming back and forth, so both the motorcycle and the bicycle parking has been open. So yeah, you can bring it back. Yeah,
That's good. Okay, I'll bring it back and we'll imbibe on some wine after work.
sounds good.
That
Sounds
way I
good.
can take the train home. No problem.
Put in a plug here.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the microbrewery Sankt Gallen?
No,
Okay.
not at all. Is
Um,
that Where's that from?
I think
Do tell.
it's in the Tokyo area. I think it might be in Kanagawa, Yokohama. Um,
Okay.
but it's a small brewery, and they've got quite a variety. They've got a golden ale and a pale ale and an XPA. That's
Nice.
a little bit higher in alcohol. It's over 7%, I think, if I remember right.
Whoa.
And they've got a sweet stout, and they've got some. It's a lot of different craft beers. They got some fruit. I think a pineapple ale and what all they got there. And
Excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff, I think. I mean, I basically don't drink the mass produced, the major brands here anymore. I basically go for the smaller microbreweries and craft beers and things like that. And this one stands up to it. Plus,
Great. Yes,
a big benefit is if you go to Miyahara store, you know where that is,
mhm.
not too far
I
from
do.
Minami Kumoto. Yeah, if you go there, you can pick it up at a reasonable price. It depends. There's a couple of different price levels there, but between 260 and 400 yen for a bottle of good beer. Yep.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, I've had a few of those. There's a couple from Tokyo, of course, Yona Yona.
Yeah.
Uh, I've had many times. That's a very good ale.
Yeah.
Kuruizawa area makes very good stuff.
Uh-huh. Karuizawa, right, yeah. Yeah, they've got that too. They've got Karuizawa there also, and it's
Okay.
cheaper, the discount, Akatsuki,
Yes,
Aka
sure.
yeah,
Yes.
they've got, a lot of the same things that you can buy it cheaper at Miyahara.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, that's good to hear.
The Ichigo from Niigata, the Ichigo microbrewery, they've got it
Yes.
there, 2
Okay.
cans for 400 yen.
Well, that's great.
200 yen a can for, I mean, and they're flying IPA, the one with the blue one with the dragon on it, that's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I've had that. I've had that.
That's one
And
of
there's
my
another
favorites.
one that I had recently. It's what is it? Moon, I think it is.
Moon. Mhm.
Moon from Tokyo also,
Okay.
which is pretty good. So yeah, I've been
Yeah,
trying as many as possible.
yep, yep,
And Dan, you turned me on to American Antenna
right.
or America Antenna, is it?
America Antenna, I think so, yeah,
America Antenna, which
yeah.
is a microbrewery, but they ship overseas. They do have some shops in Japan. There are a few freestanding shops in Tokyo that I went to about a year and a half ago
Mhm.
uh, in Shinagawa, uh, right before the U2 concert. We kind of went
Ah,
there and ended up
okay.
in America Antenna and ate and enjoyed some beers. Yeah, so it was really good.
Cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, I used to order from them quite a bit, but then, yeah, I've been looking around and I stumbled across, I mean, yeah, the Yona Yona's not too bad, that, Aoni,
Ah, Oni, yep.
yeah, Aoni is not too bad either. Um, and I'll drink the Yona Yona or the Aoni, but yeah, I actually prefer the Ichigo Brewery, that Flying IPA. I like it better than either of those other two. And the Sankt Gallen, they've got two or three different ones that I really like quite well. So yeah,
What is that again? Sunk Golan?
Sankt.
Sunk? Yeah.
It's German, so I don't know how it's supposed to be. It's like Sanket or K
Okay.
Sankt or something like that, and then Gallen, Gallen.
Okay. Great. No, I
There's
haven't
probably
seen that
some
one.
umlauts on the vowels or something like that, but I don't know. I'm sure that
Right.
it's
Probably
German. Yeah,
some lots. Right. Sanka Golan. Now, who knows?
yeah, yeah,
But that's great. I'll have to have a look for it. Thanks for spelling it. Yes.
yeah, yeah. It's good.
There's also Blue Moon and some other ones from the states.
Yep, yep, yep,
From the state. Yeah.
yeah.
So some really good ones. Right.
I mean, yeah, I really like the imported stuff. It's just, you're never gonna find anything for less than about 500 yen. Uh, uh,
Right. Right.
you
That's true.
most of them are like 6, 7, 800 yen, for a regular 350 milliliter can. That's a little bit steep. I can get two really good Japanese microbrewery brewed beers for that price. So
It is a little steep, isn't it?
a little bit steep, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. Yeah, for a couple of years, I was ordering from them every couple of months. I'd get myself a 12 or 24 bottles and cans of good beer. Yep.
Woo! So that's what you were doing all those weekends when you were staying home. I see.
Weekends. That's what I was doing first and second period. My
First and
God.
second. Oh, there you go.
Oh man, those
Secrets out, Dan.
Yeah, those those business administration students, man, they'll drive anybody to drink, you know. So
Yeah, right. That's why you're so mellow in class, yeah.
that's right. Yeah, okay.
Good morning, students. Yeah.
You want to speak English? No. All right. Well, let's watch a movie.
Yeah, there you go. There you
That's
go, there
English.
you go.
We'll watch an English movie. That'll be good. Yeah.
I think you should take all your teaching techniques such as that,
Mm.
and, put them in a book.
Yeah. I've actually been thinking about that. I'll have to talk to you about that. There's a couple of things. Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot about, doing some kind of a, an online training type thing is
That'd
a
be
way to
cool.
make money, you know? I mean, you
Sure.
set everything all up, and then, you just market it and, yeah, and it's more or less passive income once you've got it all set up. I mean, you gotta take the time to set it up, but once you got it set up, it basically runs itself, so you got that passive income going.
Yeah,
So
that's a great idea. I mean, I have a little website that hardly ever uh, update, which I should. It's Jeff's World English,
mhm,
right? .com.
mhm.
It's got some stuff on it, and but again, I don't get around to updating it enough. Bad on me.
But
I should put a lot more effort into it.
do
But
you have it set up like, so you can sell the stuff there
no,
or
there's no monetary involvement as of yet.
Right, right, yeah,
Maybe someday when I retire, yeah,
right,
I'll look into that.
mm,
Uh, but yeah, so it's just offering, for example, reading lessons, dictation exercises, and
mhm.
things like that.
Right on, cool.
Yeah, so want to do that, but again, I got to get my butt in gear.
Mm. Yep, yep,
I
gotta
tend to
do it.
procrastinate about these things, right?
Yeah, they certainly don't do the don't make themselves, do they, for some reason, yeah,
They certainly don't.
yeah. Once we get that figured out, we'll be in good shape, how we can get them to produce themselves, and
That'd be good. Yeah,
mm,
where's that brain chip? We just
yeah.
stick it in and it goes to work, right?
Well, talking about making another thing that I hear people talk about is, I mean, the Amazon affiliates and stuff like that. But I, there, what you can do is so there's a company that makes on-demand custom T-shirts, right?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, so you make up a design, right? You find a logo or you make a logo, whatever, right? And do the graphic up the way you want it to. You make up, say a half a dozen of those, right? That you think are appealing, that you would think that would be good on a T-shirt or a coffee mug or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or or a hat, and then you go to this company and you upload your logo to them, and it doesn't cost you anything, right? You upload the
Mhm,
logo to them, and
mhm, mhm.
they'll they are the illustrations or whatever to them, and then you set it up through them to sell on, or set it up through Amazon to market it through
Amazon,
Amazon. Then when an
market
order
Amazon,
comes through Amazon, it goes directly to the print shop. They
print
print
shop,
it
that's
up
right.
and sell it, and you get a
Right.
portion of the profit.
That's cool, right. Sure, 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 that's cool. That's like kind of drop shipping almost, or on demand
Right, it's all on demand, all
making
on
and
demand.
and shipping, yeah.
But
They do that with a lot of, books, right, these days. My novel that was published 2 years ago now is that kind of style of novel. When somebody orders it, it gets printed and then shipped.
right,
Yeah, so
right, yep,
which is good because we don't have any overhead, you don't
yep.
have any overhead products, right, in that case.
You don't have anything in your head, right? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything over my wait, wait.
Nothing above the neck, right?
I
Yeah,
have
okay.
something in there, Dan, I think, but
Okay,
no, you're right.
no. Did you
No
ever think
product lying around, which, that because that can take up revenue right there if in the old days, I guess that's what companies did,
did you
uh,
why didn't you go ahead why didn't you do your book as a Kindle book?
it is a Kindle book too,
Oh
yeah.
oh, it is, okay. Oh,
My
that's
novel
right, yeah,
is,
I knew
right,
that. Yeah, it
yeah.
is a Kindle book, yeah.
It is a
Which one
Kindle book too. So
which
it's
one
on that
sells better?
stream. Pardon?
Which one sells better?
Kindle has sold quite a bit, yeah, because
I would think so. I would think
it's
that that would be the
cheaper,
way,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
It's
yeah,
much
it's cheaper.
cheaper.
You want to check out an author or something like that. Yeah, I mean, rather than buy the physical book, and have it taking up space, and you're not sure if you really, like it yet or whatever. Yeah, the Kindle book, that seems like the way to go.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. We're on a lot of platforms now, actually. Smashwords and Goodreads and all kinds of places. And
Mm,
again, it's on demand style, so I don't have to worry about shipping anything myself, which is good, right?
right, right. Just sitting back
Uh,
and hauling in that
yeah,
green.
the publisher takes, of course, the publisher's in charge of that, so I
Mm,
get royalties from that. After it sells, right, and after it's shipped, then I get royalties. Yes,
mhm.
but yeah, I don't have to worry about it, and I'm not exactly rushing to the laughing all the way to the bank, right? I'm not buying Ferraris or anything.
Oh,
No, no, no,
no,
no, no,
no.
no. Maybe when the movie deal comes out.
Right, there you go. That's what you need. That's what you need. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would take a script, but although a friend of mine just actually said, why don't you just send it to some movie companies in LA? Just say, I can see this as a movie, why don't you make a movie, please?
Yep.
He told me
Yeah.
to do that. I may
You
just take a
do.
chance and do that. Yeah.
Because regardless of what book it is, there's always somebody that has to rewrite it into the screenplay, right?
Right, right, right. Totally.
And they're, and generally they don't it's not the author. Usually it's not the author of the book that writes it into the screenplay. Because I mean, he may work with them, but there's somebody else that whose specialty is screenplays. They know all the right ways to go about that, and so yeah, you just send it in, somebody likes it, I mean, they always change the book anyway, right? So if there's things that they don't like, well, that doesn't matter because they'll change it anyway.
That's true. They do that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
they? Yeah. I may just do that, man. Yeah, why not? Let
Why
me let me
not?
get around to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. That's my next thing.
There you
I
go. Your
just have
next
to.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
you
I really seriously thought of it before the pandemic hit. Actually, I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna get around to doing this. I got to put everything together and send off a nice cover letter and a synopsis and a pitch and let's
Yeah.
try to see what happens. And then COVID came around and
They
things
weren't
kind of
making
shut
any weren't
down there for a
making
while.
any movies during COVID, right? I mean, it's been a real dearth of new movies coming out, so, because of
Yeah.
COVID.
Right.
Um,
Sure. 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 And I'm sure for the next couple of years, there are going to be tons of new scripts and new stories and new books and whatnot. Sure.
yeah,
That's great.
everybody all the authors, screenplay writers, and all these people are sitting at home doing nothing, sitting in front of the keyboards, tapping away, right?
That's right. Exactly. Yep. 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 Yep.
Yes,
Indeed. Indeed.
sir.
Indeed. It's a good
All right.
opportunity to do that.
It is.
How
It
about
really
the layman's philosophy, Daniel? Yeah.
How
The
about the layman's philosophy?
philosophical questions for Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Yep, the
Is that
Friday the
good or bad?
13th.
Yeah, it's
It's
Friday the
it's
13th.
wonderful. It's wonderful. Do you know
And
the
we're
origin of Friday the 13th?
Gosh, it was around the Illuminati. What was it, around the around that age, right? I forget exactly. There was
I
around um uh one of that secretive group. What's it called? Maybe
yeah, the
pre-Illuminati.
Illuminati or the secretive group, but I thought I think it has to do with the Knights Templar,
Yes, that's it.
right? Which
Knights Templar.
they're not so secretive, but yeah, they seem to be out of favor with the powers that be, and so they, on all there was a coordinated, basically wiping out of the Knights Templar,
That's
and I
right.
believe supposedly that happened on Friday the 13th or something like that. Yeah, so
Right. And yeah, exactly.
mm,
So yeah, on Friday the 13th, so that was the whole origin.
yep,
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and masonry around that time of Masons, right? And
yep,
uh,
yeah.
My
Yeah,
grandfather was a Mason.
oh, your grandfather was a Mason. Yeah. I tell you, so what are there's the Masons, and then there's the Knights
Yeah,
of Columbus, and
Knights of
there's
Columbus.
the Rotary Club,
Right.
or whatever, and what else? Knights of Columbus, Masons, Rotaries, Shriners, the Shriners.
There's Shriners too. And in my town, I don't know if you had this group, but we had a building, right, that was called BPOE. Yeah,
VPOE.
BPOE. Uh, and my friend and I used to joke and say, well, that's just the biggest pigs on earth. But actually, actually, it's the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks.
The Elks Club. Yeah, we had the
Elks Club.
Elks. Yeah, we had the Elks. Yeah.
The Elks
Yeah.
Club.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah. And I never knew what it meant as a kid. I'm like, what's
I
that? You know,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what these groups are. I mean, I guess they're kind of a invitation only boys club kind of thing.
that's
You need to
right.
be invited and
Yeah.
initiated, and it all seems,
Masons are like that.
yeah, it
So it's
all
almost
seems
like a fraternity, a college
right.
fraternity when you join a frat, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it all seems so. I don't know, so juvenile. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
men play like boys. I guess I don't know. It just
Yeah.
I could never quite understand it.
Well, I
I
know
was
Masons have a secret handshake.
yeah, handshake and symbols, and yeah, they're,
Rules.
the Masons, I guess, are probably maybe the biggest, most prolific, the most secretive, the most famous, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I suppose, the guys that couldn't get into the Masons, they say, well, shit, we'll make our own. So let's be the Elks, right? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
be the Knights of Columbus or
No,
whatever.
I
Yeah,
think you're absolutely right. That's what happened to a lot of these, right? The
yeah,
Mason
yeah,
was a bit exclusive and wouldn't allow everyone in, and then yeah,
yeah. All
all
right,
these
so we'll
all
just have to make our
parties
own
of fun.
then, Jeff, since nobody else is
All
nobody else
right.
invited us
Yeah.
to their
Okay.
uh,
The
all
minor
right,
group for tomorrow.
the minor group for tomorrow. There we go.
Tomorrow minor.
Tomorrow minor, minor,
Tomorrow for minors.
mm,
No, no,
minor
never mind.
progress toward tomorrow. Yes.
There you go. Wunderbar.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, what
Well,
are we
playing
looking
on
at?
last names here.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
today is Friday the 13th, so
Today is.
let's delve into the LP, shall we?
All righty.
What do you have for us, Dan? Wow.
How do you know what is real and what isn't?
Yeah, yeah. That's a very, very, very good question. Very interesting and entertaining question too. Because I think we don't know 100% really. I mean, we think we know that what we see and hear and experience is real, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but then we have to ask, that reality, right, is actually what? How do we know
Hmm.
that it's real? Of course, we can see things, right? But is this what we are actually meant to see?
So in Helen Keller's case, then her reality was more limited than ours.
Yeah, good point. Good point. No, I think it was very, very, very developed actually, and she had, I'm sure, a lot of. She was very wise and smart and brilliant and had a lot of mental capability. So not only right sight, sound, or taste, right. So there's
Right.
always
Yeah.
tactile senses and also right? Communication from outside. Uh,
Yeah.
but again, how did she, realize reality?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That is a very, very good question. I think
Yeah.
we talked before about uh, anaphantasia.
Ah,
Uh,
yes.
where people can't picture in their minds. They can't picture things clearly, and normal people can picture things, or normally, or the majority of people can picture things in their mind, and minority of people picture things as almost as if it was realism itself, and they can close their eyes and make an image in their mind that is to them just as detailed and as real as if their eyes were open. um
Mhm.
and I'm
You
more
said,
on
yeah, you said you were kind of bordering on that. Yes.
I'm on the end of the spectrum, near the almost no visual, right?
Oh,
Very little visual. Yeah. Um, yeah,
really? Wow.
I
Okay.
I close my eyes, and I can when I focus on parts of an object, I can see those, I can visualize those parts, but to have, like to have my hand out and imagine a butterfly on my hand.
Yes.
um it's like where I'm focusing on, I can create the details there and actually see the details there, but the rest of it is just this vague idea of, for example, if I'm concentrating on the butterfly, right, on the color and shape of the butterfly's wings or something like that, then my hand, I know that the butterfly is resting on my hand, but I don't see any details of my hand at the same time, right? It's a very narrow window of my imagination.
That's interesting. Okay. How about your dreams? Do you have vivid dreams? I mean,
I have
during the night?
very very realistic dreams in that, I mean, but when I think back on them, the visual is not what's what stays with me.
Mm.
It's, I mean, I know who's there, um, but to describe what they were wearing, or what hairstyle they had or something like that, I couldn't do that. I know very well
Wow.
who it was, the relationship with me, or even strangers, I don't know them, but I know who this person is in whatever the scenario is in my dream. But
Sure.
the details of the visual details are just not, I mean, I saw them, but those aren't the aspects of my dream
Wow.
that I retain after I wake up.
That's fascinating. I'm the opposite. I have very vivid dreams that I can remember for quite a while afterwards,
Mhm.
too, right? And very detailed.
Mm,
And dreams to me are just fascinating because we experience a different life in our dreams.
yep,
We meet different people. We're experiencing different situation, and where do we go? So
yep.
I was fascinated for a while. So I had this practice for a while, and I've been doing it like time here and there in my life where I would wake up and immediately write down the dream
Mm,
because they were just that fascinating or vivid that it was
mhm,
just something. Wow, is I have to remember this. This is uh, to use in creative pursuits, writing or what have you later, right?
right,
But yeah, I
right.
mean, and I don't know why, but I just have a tendency to remember all these dreams. Yet, I think when I try to do, and I'm going to ask you, do you think there's a connection with this? But when I try to do more visual things, um, like for example, putting a video together or what have you, I mean, I realize I'm not that creatively visual
Uh,
yet. Maybe it takes practice. I don't know.
I definitely think it takes practice, and yeah, I mean, yeah, visualizing things is one aspect of the creative process, but it's not the whole thing. And I mean, I think that's an important thing. If you've got that, I think that's a big first step. And then just learning how to just practice and learning with the creative process, I think is what it's going to take. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Great. Great. Yeah. Because I noticed you, on the other hand, have these interesting and cool little video clips and loops that you use, uh, and I just wondered if you think there's some kind of connection, right? Since
well,
you're,
I maybe, but the things
you know
that,
what I mean, like
yeah.
you're less visual in your imagination, yet it comes through more outwardly.
Yeah, well, with me, my creativity is pretty limited, actually. Um, I do very little starting from 0. I I look at something and I figure out how to tweak it, how to change it, what I want to take out, what I want to add, how I might change it around in order to make it my original. But to actually, start with a blank sheet of paper or a blank computer screen and create something really interesting for out of nothing, out of thin air. I'm not good at that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks,
I
Mercy.
hear you. I
Yeah,
hear you. Yeah, Mercy.
yeah,
Dan, you got one for Mercy there?
yeah.
Great.
That's
Yeah,
why
I know.
that
Yeah,
that
I know what you mean.
the iMovie trailer thing, that's just so fun to play around with because all you got to do is plug
It
some
is.
things in there, and you rewrite some of their captions or some of their titles and stuff like that, and you can make it your own very easily. It's great.
Very easily, and as I uh, texted you earlier today, I was messing around with it today for my first time ever
Hmm.
doing a YouTube trailer. Right, I've done a lot of movie type things on iMovie, but the iMovie trailers was the first time today. Yeah, and it was really fun.
Yeah, yeah.
The templates are really great on those
Oh,
on
they
that.
are.
Right?
They are. Yeah.
Just-
I mean, you don't have to have a lot of material, to crank out a trailer like that. I mean, yeah, you get if you got a handful of photographs, some kind of connected to some kind of theme, makes it a little bit easier. But you can
yeah.
throw together a lot of different things and make it into a pretty bizarre trailer. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you really can. I mean, the templates are different genres, right? Action, adventure, right?
Yeah.
Scary
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whatnot. Epic drama, I noticed.
Yeah. But
Uh,
speaking of that, my dreams, you were saying you really enjoy your dreams. My dreams are like my own personal Netflix. I said this before. I mean, I have all kinds of different dreams. I have science fiction dreams, where
okay.
I interacting with robots and in the future and space travel. I had a dream that I remember the tail end of it pretty clearly just recently, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I was fighting a dragon, kind of fantasy, fighting dragon type of
Oh, wow.
dream that I was in. Yeah. Um,
That's
yeah, I had a sword and I was fighting a dragon, and it was great. And the thing is, when I was younger, I remember, having scary dreams, and fighting a dragon. Oh my God, your heart, you'd wake up, because you'd be scared and your heart would be pumping. And
yeah.
anymore though, I'm never scared by my dreams. Not at
Wow,
all.
interesting.
When I was
Okay.
fighting that dragon, I was just like, okay, well, let's see if I duck down and swing under, and then I come up, I can cut him in the underbelly. I was just like thinking this out, and that's what I'm gonna do. Just planning out my moves. It's just like, okay.
Well, that's fascinating. Yeah, I'll never forget my first nightmare.
Oh,
I had a nightmare when I was 6 years old. I dreamed I was with my father watching TV. Okay, and on the TV, the host was interviewing an Indian man in one of those headdresses. I forget what they're called, right?
right.
And the Indian guy, right, happened to fall over to one side, and a knife went in his ear. So he fell over and just landed on a knife, and the knife went into his ear, right?
Wow.
And I woke up screaming, "Oh my God!" Right? And my dad came in, and I said, "Dad, what happened to the guy?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, You remember we were watching TV, and the guy fell on the knife." And my dad was like, "Oh, okay, you just had a nightmare."
Mm,
That's what they call a nightmare, Jeff, right?
okay.
That's just a scary dream. Don't worry, it didn't really happen. Uh, but I
Wow.
kept that in my mind for so long
Yeah. You
because
remember? You
first
remember
interest.
Johnny Quest?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Quest and his buddy, Haji or Hodge or whatever, Haji, the Indian boy that was always with him, and Brace Bannon and Doctor Banner, or yeah, Doctor Quest,
Okay.
Doctor Quest and Brace Bannon. Yeah. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
the whole thing, and anyway, so there was one of those Johnny Quest shows where there was this like glob, this just this amorphous monster, right? And it was invisible. and then
Right.
they ended up they tricked it to go down this path, and they painted it so that they could see where it was, right? That was one of the things. But you know, um, and then it wasn't too long after that that I had a dream, and I had this dream several times over the period over a course of probably a couple of years. This was the one nightmare that I really remember. Um, and,
Okay.
and it started out differently, but somewhere along the line, I would encounter this monster, and the monster would chase me. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah, but the scale was off because it turned, it was a scary monster. And in the Johnny Quest movie, it was a huge monster, but in my dream, it was actually small, but it was still scary, and it was this amorphous blob that was chasing after me, and it chased me up into my house. And my mother was sitting at the dining room table, or no, at the
Wow.
kitchen table, and doing something, whether she was eating or sewing or whatever she was doing, or reading a book. I can't remember, but she was there at the kitchen table, and I crawled under the table, and I was grabbing onto my mother's legs and said, "Mom, mom, help me," and this monster was
Wow.
coming from behind,
Oh, wow.
that was
Okay.
that I had that nightmare several times over
Yeah,
a period
and
of a
I was
while.
gonna ask that too, if you've ever had the same dream over and over.
Yep,
And I have. I used to
yep.
visit similar places over and over, right? And
Mm,
one place I remember was a roller coaster, right? I took this roller coaster that would go up and around, and it was nothing magnanimous, but I mean, I went on that roller coaster several different times in my life. Yeah.
have you ever had a dream, woken up, and then went back and gotten into the same dream again?
Somewhat. I've tried to do that too, actually, a few times. Yeah,
Yep,
but it's hard to do that, and not
yep,
really. Almost, but not
yeah,
quite. Have you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was really, really interesting, because when I went back in, I had a better realization that it was a dream, and so I was actually able to do a limited. Because I haven't practiced it enough, but a little bit of that lucid dreaming, where you could
Yeah, I was
actually
just
take
gonna
a,
ask that.
yeah,
You're half awake or
yeah, a little
okay,
bit, yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit awake, yeah.
yeah,
That's
but
like, um, kanashibari in
uh-huh,
Japanese,
right,
which is, I forget the English term, uh,
mm,
right, but
yeah,
you where you can't move, right?
right.
It's like you're frozen, you're awake, but you're not fully awake. You're quite lucid. You can see things around you, but you're still almost in this dreamland, yeah, and you
Was it
can't
like sleep
move.
paralysis or something like
Sleep
that?
paralysis, that's it,
Yeah,
yes. And I've had that several times in my life,
mhm,
which is quite scary, and usually in stressful times, stressful situations, yeah.
huh. No, I've never experienced that. That would be
Oh,
quite scary, I can
that is
imagine.
weird because 'cause you're kind of awake, you can sort of see things in the room, but yet you can't move and
Mm,
you can't speak, you know? I
right,
tried to say some things, I couldn't,
mm,
and I realized that I was in this, paralysis state, this sleep paralysis, right, once.
mhm.
A couple times I think this happened, but, I was a little bit freaked out, and I tried to break out of it,
Oh.
right? I try to, and some things, gibberish would come out of my mouth, because you're forcing yourself to try to like get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Consequently, I've heard people who try to stay in it, right, and
mm,
ride that,
ah,
and it kind of leads to very interesting experiences, like
right.
almost out of body experiences and
Did
whatnot.
you did you ever read, the Carlos Castaneda, Don Juan books? The
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Sure,
yep,
sure, sure.
yeah,
Those are all
those were I mean,
separate reality.
yeah, Separate Reality, yeah, and, yeah,
Mm.
so he got into that, the dreaming body and so on, the lucid dreaming and so on, yeah, quite
Yeah, so
interesting.
I was able to pull once I remember very clearly, it was 5 or 6 years ago. I saw the light in my bedroom and I was in bed and I pulled myself out of the sleep paralysis and I whipped my arm around and kind of yelled and hit my wife at the same time. And she kind of jumped up, "What's going on?" "Oh, sorry, sorry. I was having kanashibari," right? Sleep paralysis. She knew exactly. Okay,
Mm,
wow. So that's fascinating. Back to the question: how do you know what is real and what isn't?
Right.
I think we've spoken about this guy before, Donald Hoffman, who
Uh-huh.
says that he's a philosopher, scientist, researcher who says that we can't, and this of course is his stream of thinking. But he says that we can't possibly know what is exactly 100% real because it's too intense, right?
Mm.
Or it won't make sense to us. Yeah,
Mhm.
because we're kind of like these beings who have evolved to with the over time to be as fit as possible in order for survival, right?
Mhm.
So he calls achieving these things in life fitness payoffs, right? So what are the fitness payoffs for being able to do these things in
Right.
in day by day reality, right? So he kind of equates us to icons on a computer screen, right, where we can't see the underlying wires because it's just too much for us to see.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just
yeah, plus, I
it's
mean,
yeah.
what is real? I mean, are the image that I see of you on this computer screen, is that real? I mean, on some level it is, and on some level it's not, you know?
Yeah, no,
And
you're right.
what level of interpretation, right? I mean, because what what I'm actually looking at is a bunch of atoms that are tightly, tightly together, and they are emitting light waves
Mhm.
that are received by my eyes and so on. But I'm not
Right,
aware of
wave,
any of that, and so is that
right.
real to me or not? I mean, so
Right, yeah, and I think that's where he's getting,
exactly.
he's going with that as well. Exactly. There's little
Yeah.
light emitting diodes, rays into our eyes, and these neurons are firing, right,
I
and
mean,
what have you. So,
something.
right, is that real?
Right. I
And
mean, we look at animals that have, different. I mean, looking at the electromagnetic spectrum, right? With light and heat and everything, on that spectrum, right? And different animals can observe, can receive, different parts of that continuum, of parts of that spectrum, right? Different parts than we as humans do. Some animals can see into the infrared, right, or sensitive to the ultraviolet and so on, right? Uh,
mhm, mhm,
so the fact that we can't see the air, we can't. I mean,
that's right.
we're not really aware of it, and until we move through it and so on, but so is the air real? Well, of course it is, but even though we're not aware of it. So awareness and reality and on some level are completely different things.
They are completely different, and we don't see all the little particles in the air when we move through the air,
Right.
right?
And yeah, yeah, depending on where you are, you probably don't want to be seeing all the little particles that are in the air.
Well,
It'll probably
exactly.
gross you out. You
Yeah,
never
I
want to
mean,
take another breath again, I mean, some of
right,
those.
and that's why we don't, because we don't really need to, right?
That's right.
So, and that's what Donald Hoffman says, right? We don't need to, so we don't, right? And we can't,
Yeah. So how
but
are we
yeah, no.
defining a real? So hallucination to a schizophrenic is
Mhm,
just as much their reality as yours and mine's reality. Yes, absolutely. That's, so whatever, real is what is real to you by your definition. It's a absolutely subjective thing. I don't think there is any such. I mean, I think that there is objective reality, but that doesn't really matter
well,
much.
how would that take shape?
Well, I mean, we are as humans limited by our senses. We can't define a reality that we don't have a sense of, right? And so, what is the absolute reality? I mean, for example, radiation. I mean, until it affects us in such a way, or we have some instrument in order to measure it, we're not aware of it, right? And yet, radiation obviously is real. It has lethal effects on people and so on, right? Even though we don't have the receptors to perceive it directly, right?
Can't see it, smell it, taste it, or feel it.
That's right. That's right. But that doesn't mean that it's not real. So all these things,
Right.
there is an objective radiation, these particles are radiating, are traveling out through space, and so on, and they interact with other particles in a predetermined way, and so on. So those kind of things, except that even that interpretation is manipulated by my own physical prejudices, the things that I am able to comprehend, the things that I am able
Sure.
to sense, and so on. So it's
And
all
your past
subjective.
beliefs and such,
Yeah, it's all
and
subjective.
if you
It's all
think
subjective. Yeah.
it's all subjective. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, fascinating. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really is.
absolutely. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
how do you know what's real and what isn't? I always
For
go back
us,
to
whatever we think is real is real.
right. Yeah. I always go back to I think, therefore I am. Descartes. I'm a Descartesian in that way. I mean, the only thing that I know is I am.
So you
That's
don't go the opposite way and say, "I am," therefore I think.
I actually, yeah, that's my slogan here on Haps. Perhaps I should say I think, therefore I am. Perhaps I should say I am, therefore
I
I
am,
think,
therefore I
because
think. Yeah.
yeah, I feel
Exactly.
compelled in order to feel compelled to think just because I am. That's
Right, exactly.
I
We
can't
I
be
think
without
as
thinking.
humans, we all do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's unique to us, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do humans have a soul? Oh, wow. Yeah, I took a walk this morning and I checked my shoes and I had soles.
yeah. Well, good. Don't want to go barefoot. Uh, um, I mean, yeah. A
I
soul. I
think
mean,
there is, yeah, and again, we have to determine what is meant by a soul.
something, so this is the mind body duality question, right? Really, that
Mhm,
there is something, our bodies are physical, and there's some aphysical, non-physical aspect to us that is separate. um and much of
mhm.
today's
Yeah,
society is I don't think, therefore I am not.
I don't
uh,
think
yeah.
right,
um
if you wanna go that way, Eleanor,
so
yeah, yeah,
but
sure.
the mind do and this is the argument that that the people make for the against the mind duality, the mind body duality problem, is that we have no way, there's no explanation for how a non-physical, whatever, soul, mind, body could interact with a physical, right? I mean, if it's not physical, then how can it interact
Right.
with, how can it control, so if your mind controls your body, and your mind is non-physical and your body's physical, how does that work? What's the and we can't explain that.
We can't explain that, and we can't prove it or determine it, and even doing tests is difficult.
you know the
Yeah.
one problem that I have, though, that the people always want to throw Occam's razor in there, right? The simpler
Simplest
explanation is
explanation
usually the
is
best,
probably the correct one, yeah.
right? And they they carry that too far. I mean,
Mm,
it's true, that generally it is, and there's no reason to introduce, s- unnecessary levels of complication to something, which is true. But in this case, we don't have an explanation for mind.
mhm,
We don't have a
mhm.
physical explanation for mind, so we're not actually adding any complexity to this. We're not actually adding, anything more to it. We have, the consciousness is a thing that we are aware of,
We are
at
aware of
least,
that.
yeah. And so
But
we're not
there's no
adding anything
explanation
more.
for consciousness either.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I
Right.
mean, mind being the separate entity that may control consciousness, right?
Mhm. That's right. Yep. So yeah, so I'm of the belief that maybe, I mean, my image of God is that everything is God, and right now we're like, so um, we're like a can of Sprite, okay? We're like
Uh-huh.
the universe is a can of Sprite, okay? So, and the universe is God. So God is this can of Sprite, and those little carbonation bubbles that travel up through the Sprite and then burst, right? That's us, right? We
Mhm,
start
mhm.
out, and we're that little bubble, we're that little bit of things, that's our consciousness floating up through there, and then we burst and we go back to the all, right? I mean,
That's a
nothing.
cool concept. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
just, this consciousness that we claim to be ours, we're just borrowing it as part of a greater whole that, so anyway,
Well,
I
could
thought,
be.
yeah,
Could very well be. We don't know, right?
yeah.
There's a lot of explanations. There's a lot of people putting a lot of things out there into the ether about the origin of consciousness, right?
Mm,
I've heard one researcher say that consciousness is nothing more than an offshoot of the brain activity, right? The
mhm,
brain
mhm,
activity we do every day, right?
mm,
Living, eating, breathing, etc. That offshoot, that mechanical kind of off or byproduct, I should say, is
mhm.
consciousness.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's contiguous. I mean,
I mean,
we
yeah,
lose.
that's just his thought. I don't necessarily believe that, but
Right, but we lose consciousness basically. I mean, when we're knocked out or even when we sleep, they used to, I mean, who was it that described sleep as the little death, or whatever, I mean,
mhm,
we're unconscious, I mean, sometimes we dream, for periods we dream, but the dreams are a relatively short amount of time of our sleep time, right? There are, a large amount of time, almost a third of our life we're spent sleeping, and a lot of that is not spent dreaming, it's spent basically unconscious. And yet when we come back from that little death, when we
mhm.
wake up, we identify as the same consciousness. There was no
It is
consciousness,
interesting,
and then we come back
right?
to the same one. How does that work?
Yeah, it's fascinating to me too. We never falter.
Mm.
I mean, I'm always me,
Yep.
and we never become another consciousness. We don't meld into one another. We don't. Our consciousness doesn't drop off. Right? It always comes back to the same thing, which is yeah. That's an amazing thing to think about.
And
Absolutely.
what I was saying before about, the bubbles, the Sprite, and so on, that to me explains why some people experience past lives, or are aware of things, outside
Mhm,
themselves. Because,
mhm, mhm.
because again, it's not them a separate thing. There's this thin membrane that is separating us from the everything, consciousness of the everything, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, so it makes sense that sometimes there's a weak spot there, a little rip, a little gap, and so on, and some of that
Yeah,
information
sure.
spills over to some people. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Could very well be. Sure, absolutely, right. And there's a lot of those little gaps, perhaps, and perhaps that's why people see ghosts or apparitions and whatnot, right? Because maybe
Right.
there's a little tear in the fabric, something comes through, right, from
Yep.
almost another dimension.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and if we look at soul, the meaning of soul, right, in religion is that thing that you have that's passed down, yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, that after you die, right, your soul goes to the waiting room, right?
Yep.
Those who believe in reincarnation, that is, yeah.
Yep.
And you wait until you go back into another body,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's yeah, fascinating stuff. So do you think animals have this? I mean, whatever the soul is, and we haven't really nailed that down, but do you think animals have the same?
that's a very interesting question. If you have a dog, or if you've had dogs or cats in your life, sometimes if you look into their eyes, there's a kind of deep reflection. I don't know what it is. There's almost a greenish deep reflection in their eyes that you
Mhm,
can kind of see, almost a glassiness to their eyes that has a depth, right?
mhm,
And my friend always used to say, "Well, that's the animal soul."
yep. I
Uh,
I believe that they
I thought
have
there was a
souls to the
fascinating
same extent
explanation.
that
Not that
we
it's
do.
not that it's a physical thing, but it's a sense of beingness. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, yeah. Yeah, I believe that animals have souls to the same extent that humans do, I
Mhm,
mean, if
mhm,
humans have souls, again, we are an animal. We are a unique species, but we're just an animal. And, again, we're on a spectrum like everything else that we have ever encountered. Everything is on a spectrum, right?
mhm,
Be it
mhm.
the electromagnetic spectrum or the Osberger spectrum or, whatever it is, we're all on a spectrum, right?
Totally. Oh, yeah.
Um,
We are.
yeah,
Indeed.
and
We're on this quotient, we're on a spectrum, yeah.
right,
Mhm.
so I mean, animals, soul. I mean, yeah, why not? Absolutely. They're on some kind of a spectrum for consciousness, some kind of a spectrum for souls, whatever it is. Yeah, I see it. I see it. Yeah.
I think so. I can see it, definitely, definitely. So Dan, knowing that, do you think that sorry, back to the soul one
Sure.
just briefly.
That's
Do you
cool.
think that our souls uh, do reincarnate or do move on to other existences, other realities?
Well, I mean, again, so like so remember in the universe, the planet Earth is a tiny, infinitesimally small speck, and each one of us are just a tiny little speck on that. I heard just recently, and it kind of shocked me, but then I thought about it, and I thought, oh yeah, the every human being on the planet right now could fit into New York City
Okay.
on ground level, not using the skyscraper. I mean, on ground level, if you just pack them, shoulder to shoulder in the area of New York City, every human on the planet. I mean, we're insignificant. We're tiny.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So now, do we reincarnate? I mean, yeah. Like I said, nothing is created. I mean, Einstein, nothing's created and nothing's destroyed, right? Everything that ever was is, and everything that is ever always will be, right? And so everything
Mm.
that is being recycled, right? I mean,
Yeah.
our atoms used to be inside a star somewhere, right?
Yeah. 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 Sure.
Right, so
Absolutely.
everything's being recycled, and so that consciousness of, so part of that could get, reused and be left over, and some of those memories, some of that, could be, yeah, so in that
Mhm,
way,
mhm.
reincarnation. But why don't more people, experience, the memories of
The
past
past
lives?
life.
Or
Yeah.
well, again, because the chances of, of you actually getting a chunk that was somebody, because you're getting a lot of it that, was a star somewhere that didn't have any, didn't have it wasn't on the baseball team and didn't have, this. I mean, so yeah, you don't have those memories because your consciousness maybe came from something that hadn't been in a person before, and some people got some that was in a person before. Right?
Mhm,
Yeah. Why
mhm.
not? It
Okay,
makes
yeah, why
sense.
not? Why not? If we go the other complete other direction, yeah, uh, and to kind of play the devil's advocate, if you will, for a couple minutes here.
Uh-huh.
How about what if I guess there is a possibility, is what I'm trying to say, that we're just one big accident. Yeah,
Mm.
that we everything we create is right in here, and that's it. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, what's this? Eleanor is saying, I think reincarnation is the memories of our past ancestors. Like part of them are actually passed down through our DNA and then encoded as
Mm,
memory. And what we think we remember as a past life is really our ancestors' memory, their part in our DNA. Oh, okay.
could
That's
be.
interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, yeah. I mean, some things, and I mean, that kind of explains how language how we have language. I mean, it seems that, and Chomsky did some, did some research on this. I mean, it seems that humans, children, humans have a natural
There's a yeah,
proclivity
the
for.
universal grammar.
Right, exactly. And it's just like, so it's all in there, and it's just
Mhm.
switches that need to be flipped to decide, how you're actually going to, interact with with other people, what language you're going to use, but it's all in
And
there, and that,
well,
that would
this
be explained through DNA and so on. And so in a
everyone
way,
has
that's
an
kind of a
innate
memory.
ability
Yeah.
to communicate, right, with
Hmm.
linguistically, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, that would be DNA from past ancestors, sure.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's
Yeah.
also fascinating is people with past that do have past life experiences, right, often can speak a bit of another language, yes.
Mm. Hmm. Well, you go to one of those churches where they start, or they get up and start speaking in tongues and shaking and shivering and falling on the
Yeah.
floor and all that.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
What
Woo.
Who are those? We always called them. We always called them the Holy Rollers. I can't remember who they. What the
Yeah,
actual.
holy rollers. Oh
Um,
gosh, yeah,
I can't remember what the proper.
Baptist saviors. I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. There are those. There are
yeah,
those churches.
absolutely. Anyway, yeah. So soul. Soul.
Soul. I got soul, baby.
You got soul.
We got some soul.
Does what a person observe alter what actually occurs? I'm bad with just speaking English. Maybe this is my first life ever.
Maybe.
Yeah, we haven't had, yeah, some of us haven't had as much practice as others, right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
This is my first time around. Give me a break. I'm new
You
here.
break. Yeah. Uh, does what a person observe alter what actually occurs? So you're connecting the observation with the occurrence,
Right.
I guess. So what a person observes first before they act,
Oh, okay.
or
See, I read
or
this, and this was
opposite.
like a quantum physics problem right here. Okay, so
Ah,
the two
right.
slit problem, right? I mean,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
active observation is actually what causes it to go through one slit or the other, right?
Well,
Uh,
yeah, that's a very very popular and very very interesting train of thought nowadays, isn't it?
yeah,
Philosophical thinking. Absolutely, right. Sure.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, we don't know that it's not there if we don't see it, right?
right, yeah.
Oh,
What a person observes alter what actually occurs. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've proven that. I mean, that's what quantum mechanics theory is all about, right? But I don't know enough about it to believe it or disbelieve it. I mean, that's it's just freaky actions. Freaky actions. And how about quantum entanglement? You know about that? Oh, we lost Jeff. He froze glaring into the screen there. Hey, Mr. Squint, are you going to come back? There he turned off his camera. Maybe he'll come back. Or maybe he left. Maybe the wife hit him over the head and drug him away. It's time for dinner.
there we go. What happened?
I don't know. You were squinting at the screen there, and all of a sudden you never quit squinting. Just there.
Oh, really? Oh,
You're up there at the screen.
no, no! Don't tell me I had like a messed up face on there. Okay.
Oh, it's the same face you've always got. Pretty
It
damn messed up.
just said connection lost, and it just blanked out.
Oh, okay, yeah. You
Oh,
were frozen. You were frozen there. Yep.
wow. Okay. But now I'm back.
Yep. You are back. Back in black. Yep. Yeah.
So, okay, if you're talking about that, you know,
Mm,
observing or observation causing reality or
uh-huh.
existence, yes.
Mm,
I've heard that, and I think we don't know that what is not there is does exist or not if we don't see it, right?
right.
Like, does a tree make a sound when it falls in the woods, right? Kind of type argument, yeah.
Trees don't make sounds when they fall in the woods, whether there's somebody there to watch to observe it or not.
R- Right, right. It's
Because
our perception
right,
of what
exactly.
happens, right? Yeah.
Sound is our gray matter making creating an interpretation of some physical waves, some physical interaction that's happening there. So the physical interaction happens whether anybody's there to observe it or not. But the sound only happens in our brains. There is no sound
Yeah,
out
but
there.
right, right, right. But the perception too of something that we see, does that cause that thing to exist?
Uh,
Yeah, like Schrodinger's cat experiment, right?
right.
I mean, you don't know that the cat's alive, right, until
Yep.
you look in the box, right?
Yep.
You don't
But
know if he is alive or dead.
you don't, yeah, the fact that you don't know doesn't mean that it's not either alive or dead. See, that's the
Right.
part of that Schrodinger cat thing that I never accepted, right? Oh, so the cat, since you don't know whether the cat is alive or dead until you open the box, until you make the observation. Until you make that observation, the cat is in a quantum state of being both alive and dead. No, no, no,
Right.
no.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say, and I just don't buy that at all. No, the
Yeah.
cat is either alive or dead, absolutely. And whether I know about it or not is irrelevant to the whole thing, right?
Yeah, they're trying to make kind of like a causal, explanation for that,
Well,
right? I think, right, and so that's why I think they have to kind of put it like that. But you're right. You don't know, right,
well,
one way or the other.
yeah.
Um, so, and you can say the same thing. I mean, is your mother still living? That just because you don't see her now, right?
Right.
Uh,
Exactly. Exactly.
Etc. Right. So, what a person observe alter what actually occurs? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say that astrophysicists definitely don't buy into that. I mean, they wouldn't say that, oh, until we observed that, because finally they were able to observe a black hole, right? They, the gravity wave created by the black collision of black holes or whatever, they were able to measure that and say, ah, see there, we found a black hole.
Right.
We
Right.
got evidence for it.
Right.
Well,
Because
that doesn't,
theoretically,
mm,
they already had the idea, right?
right. You know,
And they
they,
never, they didn't see it for a long, 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 long time. No, you're right.
Yeah, but
So,
obviously the black holes were always there. Simply the fact that we couldn't
right.
prove that they were there, we didn't have direct evidence that they were there, doesn't mean that they weren't there, right? They
Doesn't mean they
they
weren't
obviously
there.
were there, right?
But seeing it actually made it all the much more believable,
Right, right.
probably for
To
some
them,
people.
but I mean that's the whole thing. I mean, this isn't do you know they actually cannot measure the speed of light?
Yes, I saw that
Right,
video on that the other
right,
day.
right.
Right, because you send it one direction and then you have to measure it coming back the other direction.
Yeah,
Right,
you have to measure the round trip.
you have to
Well,
measure the round trip. Right, so by the
yeah.
time it bounces off the thing, it's the light source is already moved. Right, and
Well,
so you have a
yeah, that, but also, I mean, so perhaps it travels at, it travels at, the speed of light, or it travels at, it travels, at a certain speed going there, and it instantaneously returns,
yeah, 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 yeah. Right,
right?
right, right.
There's
Yeah.
no
So
way for us to disprove that theory, right? Or it could be anywhere along that. I mean, we can measure the round trip, but we don't know if the speed going in each direction is the same, and there's
yeah,
no way for us to test
exactly.
it. Yeah,
There's no way to test that. Yeah.
you know,
Fascinating, right?
yeah,
Interestingly, also, I mean, light. When you think of course, they're measuring a particle of light, right? But when you think of light, if we go outside, light is all around us. Yeah,
right.
wherever we look, it's light. So if we were observing someone traveling at the speed of light from the Earth, for example,
Hmm.
I mean, it would be impossible to see. First of all, because I mean, right?
Right,
When you think about the physicalness of it, right?
right, right.
Uh,
Yep, absolutely.
so it's just amazing,
Yeah, and
and therefore difficult to
yeah,
measure.
and all these different things. So like if there was an alien, and he was moving toward Earth, he would be seeing into our past. But if he was moving, for example, if he was moving at a fraction of the speed of light toward Earth, he
Hmm.
would be looking into our past. But if he was traveling away from us at a fraction of the speed of light, he would be looking at our future,
Our future, right?
or
Okay.
something like that. Maybe I have it
Something like
backwards, but
that.
something like that. I mean, it's so weird.
Very weird, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
really weird, right? Yeah, and of course, Einstein's theory of relativity. If you're traveling in the spaceship, going so fast, at the speed of light, you're not going to age
Right.
nearly
Yep.
as fast as everyone else
Yep.
does on
Yeah.
Earth, right? Yeah.
Relativity, right? It's all relative.
Relativity.
Yep.
It's all relative. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like,
Yeah.
we're really getting off the subject here, but what
Yeah.
happened, what was there before the Big Bang?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and
That's right.
that spurred all kinds of debate. It's like, well, is it even correct to talk about before the Big Bang, because we're talking about the space time continuum, and if the
Mhm.
time continuum is the origin of the space time continuum is the Big Bang. Well, that's the origin of time, and therefore there is no such thing. There is no before, right?
That's it. That's
Time
right. There
started
is no
then, right?
before,
Time
right?
started
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
What? What?
yeah.
Time started then?
Time started. Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah,
could have started then. I mean, there are people, Dan, who feel like, there was never a Big Bang. Have you heard that? The universe has been
What?
going on, continually forever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The the expansion. The Big Bang and then the collapse and then the Big Bang and the collapse. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I guess.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And do you think we'll ever know for sure
No,
answers to these questions?
I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think that, I mean, well, I mean, forever is a long, long time, but then, I mean, the the sun is a star and it has a limited lifetime, right? And
Exactly.
there's only, and the distances between, you know planetary systems, between, the between stars is so great that, I mean, I just don't anticipate life on this planet ever evolving to the point that they could travel, to another star. I mean, it's just the distances are just too great. I just don't. I mean,
I agree. I agree with that.
traveling to Mars, yeah, traveling to Mars, okay. Traveling to Venus, maybe. I mean, they're talking about, setting up a city in the sky in Venus, on Venus, right? And talking about making a human settlement on Mars, right?
Mhm.
Those things, that I mean that
Those
now
things are
we're talking,
doable.
yeah, we're
They
talking
can
about
be.
weeks or months travel,
Right. Weeks and months.
not hundreds or thousands of years, so yeah,
Right. And so, yeah, some of these stars are, millions of light years away,
mm,
which takes millions of years traveling at the speed of light
right,
to get there. I mean, it's
right,
not just 1 million years, it's a
right,
million years at the speed of light,
right.
which is amazing. Right. And it's
Now,
so vast.
yeah,
I agree with that, that I don't think
yeah,
people are
I
going to
mean,
be coming from any place that far anytime soon.
right. Of course, the great unknown is, I mean, energy as we understand it now, which we don't understand it very well, but what we understand about energy, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's never going to happen. But given an infinite amount of time,
Mhm. Mhm.
or I mean, or humans have only been, really, intelligent for, for a few millennia, really, a few tens of thousands of years, and
Mhm.
science has only been going for a few hundreds of years, a few thousands of years, I guess, but so
Mhm. Mhm.
given hundreds of thousands of years for us to develop, more complex and until now, not thought of, energy sources and ways to, to harness energy or to create energy, or whatever. I mean, who knows? Maybe there is something, because reaching near the speed of light, a significant fraction of the speed of light right now, the problem is we just don't have enough energy. We can't gather enough energy in order to,
Yeah.
and
Right.
attach it to a rocket and send it up, to be able to accelerate. I mean, we know that once you're in space, there's not any drag, and so you can continue to, you won't accelerate, but once you cut off the gas, you still continue at the same speed, right?
Right. 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 Mhm.
We
Mhm.
need to keep accelerating until we reach a significant, percentage of the speed of light, and that, right now we just don't have the energy know-how to do that. But who knows? Maybe someday. Maybe
And
someday.
maybe, do you think maybe there are civilizations out there somewhere who've already, reached that precipice?
Hmm. Could be. I mean, you've heard that, the famous one. So, why is it that, we haven't encountered, uh, you know uh, alien races? I mean,
Hmm.
maybe we have, but why is it that, we're not aware of alien races, directly, and so on? I mean, because in the timeline here, the human civilization could be on one or the other end of this life development. We could be one of the early ones. Just, it took, 14.5 billion years in order for,
Hmm.
life to be able to develop even to this point, right? And that's
Right.
one possibility. Or it could be that it, for most of the universe, it didn't take near that long. It only took a couple billion years. They've already, developed, reached their peak and died out, and we're last to the party. Everybody else has already left the building, right? And here we are looking around saying, hey, where'd everybody go?
Where's Elvis? Oh my God!
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're absolutely. That could be. Could be.
Yeah,
Could be.
yeah,
That's an interesting uh, thought experiment for sure, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Could very well be.
Of course, then the most common argument is, again, like we just talked about before, is that, the
The
distances,
distance.
regardless of how advanced the technology is, the
Right.
distances are just too great to
But then
overcome.
the people point to wormholes and whatnot, right?
Wormholes are only theoretical, though. I mean, there's no
Theoretically,
direct
they're
evidence. I
possible,
mean,
right? There's
it's,
no
I
direct
mean,
evidence.
black holes, we had pretty good evidence for. I mean, we saw, we had indirect evidence of black holes for a long time, but wormholes are theoretical, and there's been no that I know of. There's been no observed, even
No,
indirect evidence of the existence of a wormhole. It's strictly
no,
theoretical.
right. Uh, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. Right. Yeah.
Every once in a
Yeah.
while. Anyway,
You
anyway.
are right. Well, every once in a while. How
Yeah.
about what about um just one more thing before we go?
Oh, that's cool. We got lots of time. I can.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the teleportation issue, right?
Uh huh.
Where you can travel somewhere in an instant. What if that's been developed in another civilization already?
Um. Yeah.
Because they've been able to teleport a particle of light, apparently, here on Earth. So that kind of lends itself more, perhaps, to
Yeah. Okay. All right. But
scientific
all right.
investigation. Of course, yeah, still there's.
Okay. So all right. Let's say they've got the teleporter like they've got in Star Trek. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
All right. Now, what is actually happening? Are they actually trans? Are they actually moving the same molecules from one place to another, or are they
Mm.
reading the pattern? Okay, this is what Jeff is, right? All
Yeah,
this collection of molecules arranged in this form is Jeff, right? Okay, we read that, right?
right.
Wipe him out and rebuild it at the other location, the
I think
exact
that's what.
same, right?
Yeah, I think that's what they are doing.
So is that you?
Right. Right. Well, I think it's
Not
close
a
enough,
single molecule.
hopefully, to
Not a
to
single
maybe.
molecule that in the new location is the same as the molecules in the prior location. So in what way is that you?
Well, if it's reassembled into exactly the same pattern and exactly the same form, then it is me, right?
Okay, so let's imagine.
But if they
It,
get one little molecule off, for example, right? And
yeah,
I used to like red and now I like blue.
yeah.
Maybe that's not me.
Oh, all right, all right. Well, how about this? Okay, let's imagine that they have that technology, and let's forget about moving them, across the solar system or whatever, across the universe. But let's just say, we're developing this, and okay, they read the data for your wife, okay, right? They have the data for your wife, okay, and then before your very eyes, they kill your wife. She's dead. All right.
Okay.
Then they turn around and they use that pattern and they reassemble some new atoms, right, in exactly the same pattern. And so your wife emerges from the device, right? Or someone that looks, for all intent, down to the molecular level,
Yeah.
exactly the same as your wife. Now, would you love her the same?
I think I'd have to have a couple drinks before before I get into that one. But I mean, I'd probably freak out and have to have a lot of drinks maybe. But
Okay,
maybe
but
I don't know.
how is that different
I don't
than
know.
how is that different
I
than the Star
probably
Trek?
would. Yeah.
How is that different than the Star Trek transporter? Right? Again, we're saying that those molecules are not transported. The pattern is read, and the pattern is reproduced at another location, right? So
Right.
basically, you're killing them in one spot and bringing them back to life, bringing other atoms back to life that resemble
Yeah.
the original.
Well, in
It's the same
Star
thing.
Trek, that's what they do, and Kirk is always Kirk, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they've never had a problem with the teleporter, have they?
Yeah,
That's a
there
good
were a
point.
couple episodes where they had
There,
trouble
there
just
may be
teleporting.
yeah, there may be
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple of episodes with some problems, but yeah, I mean, hopefully that they would get the technology down so that would be perfect, right? Yeah,
yeah.
disassembling and teleporting and assembling at the other end.
Not like The Fly, that movie, The Fly.
Great movie. I was going to mention The Fly just now, yeah, because that would be
Wh-
a huge faux pas if that ever happened, huh?
Which one? Which one?
The one with Jeff Goldblum.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. That one's pretty good. Yeah. Did you see the one in the 60s?
I never did see that one. No,
Oh,
no.
that
Did you?
one's pretty good too. Yeah, that one's pretty good. I mean, they
Is it?
don't have all the effects, but
I was
at
going
the
to ask
end, you see a tiny little fly with a guy's head on it,
that.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, The Fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that used to be a topic in some English classes I had. Teleportation and
Hmm.
whatnot, right? Because there's a textbook I used with the topic of transportation systems in it. Yeah, and that was kind of one of the questions. Do you
Uh-huh.
believe in teleportation, right? And I used to use that movie, that just the section of being teleported, right? When
Right.
live was actually in there,
Mm-mm-mm.
and ask the students some questions and some reactions. But yeah.
I mean, this teleportation question. I mean, it's the same thing as who was it? I can't remember. Um, the boat. The idea. Okay, that you have a boat that sets out from. Okay, this boat sets out from Athens, Greece, and it makes a trip around the world and back to Athens, Greece. But during that during that voyage,
Hmm.
little by little, each board, every single piece, every rope, every nail, everything has been replaced during that voyage, right? This board broke. Okay, we replace it with another one. Oh, this sail's torn. Okay, replace it with a new sail. Oh, this nail came out. Okay, replace it with a new nail, right? So over the course of this voyage, every piece of that ship has been replaced. When it comes back into Athens port, is it the
Yeah.
same ship?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Not one single
Interesting.
not one single piece of it is the same as the original, right? There's absolutely not a molecule on that ship that was there when it left.
Right. Well, we can say the same thing about us. No, I mean,
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
rejuvenate our cells, our brain cells change, our hair falls out, whatever. Our skin cells fall off. So
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I think the ship would be a little bit different, and so are we. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. To me, I mean, yeah, it's not really the same ship. But then
No.
again,
Right.
I don't think that I mean, I don't really identify with myself as a young man anymore. I mean, my thoughts have diverged to such a large degree from the way I thought when I was young that it's like that almost wasn't me. I've changed so much.
Same with me.
Yeah.
I
Um,
can't identify what I was like when I was 18, and I was completely different. Indeed, and I think we go through that. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely,
In the
absolutely.
way,
Go through
yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
me who got killed, broken down, and transported over here, but would
yeah.
they love me? Yeah. Let's see.
Cheers,
No,
buddy.
with each piece that was replaced, it became
Yeah,
a new boat. So that boat was who knows how many boats, right? Yes.
yeah, exactly.
It's not identifying
This,
train.
this was identifying as a train, probably. Right. Yeah, right.
Don't call me boat. I am a train.
I'm a train. Yeah, that's my pronoun. Train.
That's my pronoun. Yes.
That's my noun. Yeah, indeed.
Oh,
Fascinating conversation. My gosh.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I mean, I'd like to, I would like to think that some of these technological advances will come eventually.
yeah, yeah.
Teleportation, for example.
It is, it's so hard to figure out, how far we might progress, you know.
Hmm,
It's really hard to figure it out. Yeah.
it really is.
I mean, what are the limits to human knowledge? I mean, are there limits to human knowledge? I would think that there must be.
I would think that there must be, but and how about knowledge and intelligence? Is it uh, will it form from nothing? Do you think?
I mean, from nothing. I mean, yeah, I mean, there was no intelligence and then there was, right? Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
natural growth process of evolution.
Mm, I think so. A natural, I mean, yeah, but not necessarily a universal. I mean, it won't necessarily always happen. I mean, it's
Hmm,
it happened, naturally.
right.
It doesn't require an intelligent being to
To
produce
set
it,
it off.
right?
Right.
Yeah, we don't need a
And you're right. It
creator.
might not always happen.
That's right. Yeah,
So,
might
so
not.
humanity might be in just the very right place at the right time and the prime, opportunity,
Hmm.
for life to explode, and
Yeah,
intelligence after that. Right.
yeah. Well,
Amazing.
totally unrelated in one way, but another, so we were, to me, the idea of the multiverse. You've heard of that people talk about the
Yes.
multiverse, right?
Sure. Right. Hmm.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay. Yeah, I think some physicists have found these equations, and kind of theoretically, it points to that direction. Apparently.
But their definition of universe must be different than mine, because to me universe is all inclusive, absolutely
Mhm.
everything. If be anything outside the universe, because the universe is everything, right? And so therefore there can't be a multiverse, because it's all, I mean, the multiverse. I mean, so what I can imagine, is, like bubbles of locality within this universe, right? And we happen to be within one of those bubbles, and to us it seems to be infinite, and although it's within another infinity, which is another thing. Infinity is such a strange idea. The idea that some infinities are bigger than others, and so on. That
Yeah.
mathematical concept, yeah, is a little bit unsettling.
It is. It is right. Yes, and some people believe that in the multiverse theory
Mhm.
that every possibility that ever exists for everything, right, exists in other universes, right? So
Yeah, the mathematics seems to dictate that. Yeah,
yeah,
because infinity, and therefore there is an infinite amount of material or whatever, an infinite amount of time, an infinite amount of everything, in order for things to happen. Therefore,
in,
everything eventually will happen. Yeah, I don't buy that.
infinite amount of possibilities, right,
Right.
for every single situation, right?
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. Just
Well,
no.
yeah, I think they're relying, on the math for
Yep.
that, right,
Yep.
exclusively. Which,
Yep.
yeah, it's
But
again, it's a thought experiment, and it's a pretty interesting thought experiment.
but you see, the problem is math is simply, in my interpretation, math is simply a language
Yeah.
to explain
Mhm.
to explain certain things. I mean, in the way English is a language or anything else, math is a language.
Sure, sure, sure.
And we've developed this mathematical vocabulary and so on. but in the same way that if I, I mean, that if I, if I say, you know, the purple flying dog, ate the elephant, that
Yeah.
I used English to construct that. Therefore, it must be possible because the language was able to do that. No, no, and that, see, to me, that's what they're doing with mathematics. They say, oh,
Mhm.
because my mathematics, I can manipulate the mathematics in order to prove this. Therefore, it must actually exist. No, no.
Right. Yeah.
Mathematics is simply a language. That's all it is.
Yeah. I think they're just using the math to try to describe it or explain it, right? And people
Which is
who are
fine.
interested in it, I think, take it a bit further and try to connect some real meaning to it.
Yeah, yeah,
But there's no way really to test it. So yeah,
right. Yeah.
no, you're right. It's just an explanatory feature.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I mean, so they were talking about, is does mathematic, was it discovered or invented?
Hmm.
And, I would say that, you know, it's a language. And so it's it was invented in the same way that English was invented, you know. I mean, people developed, an agreement as to what certain things meant, and they can manipulate things in the same way that native speakers recognize grammatical and ungrammatical utterances of English, in the same way that mathematicians come to agree upon what is a well-formed or not well-formed mathematical proof or whatever. I mean, it's really the same thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Totally, I believe that too.
Yeah, Eleanor's bilingual, English and math.
Bilingual math is the second life. Okay, good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, yeah, indeed.
So, what do you think? You want to look at a unanswerable question?
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's go on a few more minutes here. How about that? Sure.
How important do you have to be considered assassinated and not just murdered?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so if someone killed you, you'd be murdered, right?
I'd be assassinated, brother.
All right. Well,
In my own mind,
we'll have to
which
put
will
this one
be.
to the test, I think. Here, all right.
Yeah, good question. Well, I think assassinated is taking it a step farther than murder, isn't it? I mean,
Well, I mean, first degree murder, a planned, murder of
yeah,
someone, intent and forethought and so all
intent,
that. I
forethought,
mean,
planning.
but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
assassination, I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, it's different than manslaughter or an accidental death or something like that, but so if you murder someone, it's premeditated murder. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I guess so. I guess, yeah, assassination is more attached to political or famous figures.
right.
I guess you're right. Because when you look at that, remember Kim Jong Un's brother, was it? Half brother?
Mm,
Who was killed in, remember, poisoned, where was that? In some airport in Singapore, was it?
yeah,
A few years ago.
yeah.
Was that assassinated or was that murdered?
I can't remember. I remember the death, but I don't remember whether they talked about it as assassination or murder.
Yeah, I can't remember what verb they attached to it. I think it
Yeah.
was murdered, actually.
Mm. I mean, it seems to me, yeah, the assassinations, although, so an ambassador, if an
Yeah,
ambassador is killed, is that an assassination?
I think it is. Yes.
So if the person must be either in some, uh, so part of the royal family or something like that, so that kind of monarchy, that type of thing, or an elected official of some
Hmm.
type, some type
Right.
some type of official, in order for them to be assassinated.
Right.
an actor or actress, regardless of how, if they're not, if they're not Schwarzenegger or Ronald Reagan or whatever, I mean, if they're just a regular actor and
Because
they're killed,
actors are murdered. Yeah.
yeah, if they're murdered, yeah, if they're killed, they're murdered, not assassinated, right?
Right. They're murdered. Right. So yeah. So it has to be political. Eleanor says religious intent also.
Political or religious, yeah,
Religious.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if the Pope
So
was killed, if the Pope was killed, it would be
it would be an
assassination.
assassination. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Don't you think?
I don't know. I mean, he's nothing to me, so he's just been murdered. He's just some guy that likes to wear fancy robes. I don't know. I don't
But
I
he's
don't
so famous. He's so iconic.
Yeah.
And I
But I
think,
mean, there are a lot of people that are iconic, I mean, shoot,
yeah. Right. What about Schwarzenegger? Would he be murdered or would it be assassinated?
I mean, he was what the he was just he was what he was the mayor of Los Angeles, or was he the governor of California? I cannot remember. Governor?
He's the governor of California,
All
right?
right,
Yeah.
yeah, he's the governor. Governor,
Right.
the
He's
governor.
governor.
The governor was
So
assassinated. The governor was assassinated. The governor was murdered. I don't know. It seems like it's just a linguistic thing. Yeah. The governor was killed. That's what he was. He was killed.
I think it would also depend on the reason, right? If
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger were killed just from a neighbor or something, right,
Right.
out of
Yeah.
spite or
His
hatred.
wife, his wife gets pissed off that he stooped the maid, and so she
Yeah.
kills him. That's
Yeah.
murder,
Right.
right?
That's murder, right? Yeah. Right. Exactly. If there's
Yeah.
if there's some kind of heavier political or religious intent attached to that, it might
Right.
be
So that's
assassination. Yeah.
I think we've got it. I think we've got it. The question is a little misleading. It's not how important the person who dies is. It's, what
Mm.
was the motivation of the killing, right?
No, I
Was
think
it politically or religiously motivated, or was it emotionally motivated, or whatever, right? Yeah.
exactly. I think that's
Mm.
it in a nutshell. Right.
This
Yeah.
this
Uh-huh.
isn't this is unanswerable. We answered it.
We answered it, man. Right to these people,
We
Dan. Come on.
we answered the unanswerable
We
question.
answered the unanswerable, brother.
All
How
right,
about that?
here you go, Teach.
What is the alphabetical? Why is the alphabetical order that way? Who said that's the order that it had to be? Okay, right. Yeah, good. You mean our English alphabetical order?
Yeah, or any. I mean, yeah. Who said A comes
Yeah.
before B? What if I want to say C B A D E F G? That's what I like.
Yeah. Sure. That's good question. Good question. I mean, I think it was just right through my linguistic purposes back in the day. The Committee of LMNOP. That's a good one. Can you pronounce the alphabet, by the way, just as a little aside? Abgehaf, Abkadef Gehimchkumnop Kerstuixes. That's the
Okay,
pronunciation of the alphabet.
if you say so. All right.
I learned that on Sesame Street.
You learned that on Sesame Street.
Abkadef
That's what you
Gehimchkumnop
learned on Sesame Street. That's what you learned. Of all the lessons you could have learned, that's the one that you learned. Okay.
Sorry, Yeah, interestingly, I think that's just the way it was decided. Perhaps for some reason, like in Japan, in Japanese borrowed word, or even hiragana or katakana alphabetical order, it's always vowels first, right? A, U, A, O.
Right.
And then they have their particular order, right? Kakiku,
Right.
Keiko, etc. And that's how the teams were introduced. The countries were introduced for the Olympics, actually, the Olympic opening ceremony.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Iceland was first, of course, after France and after America, right? Who were France is next year, so I think they did theirs first, but then they did Iceland, right?
Hmm.
In katakana I, right? I, right? Yeah. So it's they started this way, right? And a lot of people ask me, why is that? Why is it starting in that that language, and it always starts in the alphabetical order of the host country.
Yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
oh man, don't even talk about Japanese, man. I mean, how do
oh
you
man,
you know
yeah.
when you've got like the outline for the minutes of the for the meeting, right? The plan for the meeting. Uh,
Oh my gosh.
Ro ha nantka. I mean,
Oh yeah. There's then there's a small number one in a circle, and then there's E. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, oh man, there's all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, yeah, I can't figure it out.
It's hard to figure out, isn't it?
Yeah,
They have number after number. They have like a big number one without a circle, and then they have like a number one under that,
right.
number two, and then they go back to number two. Yeah, that's very very
Yeah.
confusing, isn't it? Yeah.
With the circle, without a circle, capital letter, small letter, right?
Capital
Yeah.
letter, small letter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
crazy. Yeah, but yeah, I guess, gosh, I don't know why English was like that. To be honest, A B C D.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Dan, you're a minor, so when they were taking roll in high school, you were always before me, weren't you?
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah,
Minor
we're
roll.
right in the middle of the alphabet, right? We're number letter 13, right? So right
Yeah,
in the middle of the alphabet.
right middle of the alphabet, exactly. Right. Yeah.
I always felt sorry for Dorothea Zumbach.
Yeah. All right. I felt sorry for Sean Appleby.
Appleby?
He
Oh,
was
he's
always like way at the top of the list, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why is
All right.
Goofy considered a person and Pluto considered a pet when they're both dogs anyway? Yeah, because Goofy can talk, right? Isn't that?
Goofy talks. He drives a car. He's Mickey's buddy, right? But
He's Mickey's
Mickey
buddy.
Pluto, another dog, as a pet. I mean, why doesn't Goofy get all hacked off and says, "Yeah, you got my brother in chains there," slavery,
Or Pluto should get hacked off too. Why does Goofy get to drive a car?
right? Yeah,
Jeez. Yeah.
yeah,
Good question. I'm not sure why that is.
yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, the idea of giving Mickey a pet was just a strange idea. A strange idea for a mouse to have a dog as a pet was just a strange idea from the get go.
That's weird, isn't it? Has that been written about? I've never really encountered anything about that, but
Well,
now that you
you
mention
remember
it.
Stand By Me?
Yeah, sure.
You
The
remember the
movie?
scene where they're sitting around the campfire and they're talking
Yeah.
about, what was Goofy anyway,
Oh, right. Okay.
What the hell was Goofy?
I guess that's right. All right. Yeah. There you go. Right.
Yeah. Mickey's
Yeah,
a mouse. Donald's
yeah.
a duck.
Donald's a
Right?
duck. Pluto's a
You know,
pet. Right? Yeah,
Pluto's a pet dog. What the hell was Goofy?
that's true. That's true. Good question there. That's pretty good. There you go. What is
Unanswerable
Goofy?
question.
He's a goofy uncle.
Yep. Here you go. You like golf?
I used to play golf, Dan, a lot. Actually, when I was a kid, I was on the junior golf team. Actually, when I was a kid, 11, 12, 13 years old. I liked it at first.
Mm.
Yeah, and then it started to get difficult to maintain, coherence, whatnot. I started to slice a lot, and then I got frustrated, right?
Well, yeah, it says, I like this question. Why is the objective of golf to play the least amount of golf, right?
Right. Well, you hit a ball far. That's what that means, right? You hit it as far as possible, and then
Right, but the playing
putt as
involves
few as
hitting the
possible.
ball, right? I mean, that's the actual play, is hitting the
Right.
ball. I mean, the rest
Yes.
of it is just walking around, right? The rest of it is just
Right.
walking, but the actual play is when you hit the ball, and the objective of golf is to hit the
Oh,
ball as fewest
yeah.
times as possible, which means
Why
you're
is
actually
that
playing
yeah,
as little as possible.
gotcha. Why is that the objective? I see. Yeah. Well, yeah. Good.
mean-
I think the objective more though is to put the ball in the hole.
Right.
So no matter, even if you're hit the ball 50 times,
Mm.
which hopefully it didn't take you that long, but
Talking about sports a little bit here on a tangent here. Baseball has to be the weirdest game in the world ever invented. I mean, it's just weird.
It's a pretty strange game. I know. I got you. And there are rules that you have to try to get down. Yeah.
right? But I mean, every I mean, most basketball, the team that has the ball are the ones that score the points, right? They're the offense, right? The team that has the ball is the offense. Basketball, football, soccer, all these
Yeah.
games, the team
Hmm.
that has the ball, the team that controls the ball, they're the ones that can score the points.
Hmm.
Baseball, the offensive team can score the points, but it's the defensive team that controls the ball. The defensive team has the pitcher, the pitcher has the ball. He's controlling it.
Yeah.
He's
True.
on
True.
defense and he's
Yeah.
controlling the ball. What kind of a weird game is that?
I always thought it was weird too how like a batter can hit a ball and somebody catches it immediately and they're just out. Boom. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean. That's a good point. Very good point. I'm more for those ball team sports, football, basketball,
Yeah. Yeah.
rugby, yeah, those kind of sports, yeah, soccer and football.
Team sports, huh? Oh, okay. Yeah. Team
I
sports.
mean, except for baseball.
Mm, yeah. I was always a big baseball fan. Um, and then I'm not.
How about Otani? Shohei Otani, do you know him? Right?
No, who's
He's on
he?
the Angels, man. He's an amazing player.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
he's hitting home run after home run. Oh my
Wow.
gosh, yeah.
Wow.
He's really cool to watch, actually.
Oh yeah.
So
Cool.
I was kind of off of baseball there for a little while until he came around.
Mm,
Then I started to get interested in it. Yeah, because he's really phenomenal.
yeah. What
I mean,
was I
he's
mean,
getting up there in home runs too.
yeah. I mean, so, Ichiro was the one who kinda, you know, really kinda opened the floodgates for people to go, but, who was that guy? There was a pitcher for the Dodgers, wasn't he? The Tornado, Japanese guy,
Yeah. Oh,
before years before Ichiro went,
yeah. Maida? Oh,
Maida.
I can't remember now. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
um,
there was a pitcher for the Yankees too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, yeah, but the one that I'm thinking of was like the one of the very first, or he was the first one to really be successful anyway. And then after him, yeah, right after him, there were two or three pitchers that were picked up by the American baseball teams and used brought over from Japan.
let me look that up. Yeah, I don't know.
Alrighty.
Uh, Hideo Nomo. Yeah, Nomo.
Nomo, yeah, Hideo Nomo,
Nomo. That's
yeah.
right. Okay.
He
Nomo. That's right. I remember Nomo. Sure.
Yeah, he was before Ichiro, and yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I really feel that he was the one that kinda sprung the gates open, led the way.
He did. Yeah, that's true. He was back in, yeah, when was that? 70s or 80s?
Must have been the '80s. I think,
Yeah.
I think he was still playing when I came to Japan. In fact,
Right.
it
Okay.
might have been about between '85 and '88, sometime in that time when he went to America, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Mm,
And then there was the, yeah, Maida
Maida,
from Dodgers. It
right.
was right
Uh-huh.
in the late 80s. He was
Where
good too. He was a very good pitcher, Maida.
where did Nomo play?
Nomo played. Um, oh my gosh, let me just see. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, Let me just pull this up. Yeah. Dodgers.
He
Yeah,
played
mid
for
90s Dodgers too, right? Yeah.
okay,
After
yeah.
Maida. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That brings back memories. But you got to check out Otani if you can.
Oktani, okay, alright.
Just Google him. They call him Showtime. That's his nickname.
Okay. All right. Oh, I was later. Nomo didn't go to Los Angeles until 95.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Debuting with the Dodgers in '95. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was very famous in Japan too, there for a long time, right?
Yeah, yeah, he got a lot of press. Yeah.
A lot of press. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, after Nomo, there were several pitchers. For some reason, yeah, the American, the in the States, the teams seem to be attracted to the Japanese pitchers for some reason more than the fielders and the other positions. Pitchers seem to be the position that they were really keying on. Quite a few pitchers went over after Nomo.
They did. They
Yeah.
did. That's right.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And now we have a lot of people going over.
Yeah. 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 That's another one that which I remember. Al Kaline. You remember Al Kaline?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Who did Al Kaline play for?
oh, that I don't remember. I just
The
remember the
D
name.
the Detroit Tigers.
Was it?
Yep. Al
Okay.
Kaline. And he retired from the Tigers and came over and became a home run hitter over here in
Oh,
Japan for a while. Yeah.
what year was that?
I'm not sure.
I don't know
I
that
th-
either.
let's see. Maybe I'm
It
remembering
must
wrong. I
have
thought,
been ages ago.
yeah, I mean, well, he played in the 60s and 70s, I think. Oh, no, 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 no. 1955 to 1967.
Yeah. Okay. That was ages ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know he came over here.
I'm pretty sure that he did. Final seasons.
Yeah. Speaking of coming over here to play baseball, Dan,
Uh-huh.
there's a great movie in the early 90s with Tom Selleck, Mr. Baseball.
Right. That's a great game. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Maybe it was Willie Horton. Willie Horton?
Oh, Willie Horton. Okay. Maybe. I don't remember that guy, though. Oh, LK line. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. I don't see anything about him coming to Japan.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Let's see. Primarily for the Detroit Tigers. Yeah, another Tiger. Maybe that's why I confused them because
Yeah.
um wasn't it him either? Well, who? Maybe they just don't talk about it. I was pretty sure that it was either Al Kaline or Willie Horton that came over.
Yeah. MLB players who went to Japan. Okay. Joe Stanka, Jim
Okay.
Little,
Uh, uh,
Randy Bass.
Randy Bass. Yeah.
Randy Bass. Yeah. Orestes Destrada, Tom O'Malley, Troy Neal, and Brandon Laird.
Hmm.
Okay, so those I don't know those names.
I was sure that Willie Horton was over here for a couple of seasons. I must have remembered wrong. Maybe he was over here for the All-Star game between the Japan and America. They used to play that. Do they still play that? The
Yeah, they do.
All-Star game.
Yes, they do. They do. And I think they were hoping that Shohei Ohtani would come and play for that, or maybe they're still hoping he will. But yeah, they do play that still. Yeah.
Okay.
So great, man. So, well, shall we call it a day here, Dan?
I think we
I'm,
should. I think we shall. Yeah.
I'm getting hunger pangs a bit.
All righty. All righty.
What are you up to tonight?
Oh, not too much. So let's see. This is Friday, so it's 2 days after my second injection.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday I was dragging quite a bit. I wasn't
Oh,
feverish. I didn't have a lot of body pain. It's just I had very low energy level. Um,
okay.
I just didn't feel like doing a heck of a lot of anything. But today I feel like I'm pretty much back to normal. So yeah,
Great, great.
yeah,
That means back to drinking your case of beer tonight.
yeah. Well, maybe I'll hold off till tomorrow night. Uh,
Yeah, cool, cool. How about tomorrow? Are you around tomorrow?
yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, you wanna? You haven't broadcast this week, have you?
I have it. Let me do something tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. You let me know what time, and I'll be there with bells on or
Excellent.
something.
Thank
Yeah,
you, and thank you everybody for watching. Join us tomorrow.
I'll put on pants too. So yeah, not just bells. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Please put on pants.
All right. Good night, Eleanor. Thanks
Good
for
night,
dropping
Eleanor. Thanks
in.
for watching. Thanks
Our
for commenting.
our faithful audience there. Yes.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Really much
much
appreciated.
appreciated.
Okay. Yep.
Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jeffer. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.